If you're someone that believes you waste a lot of time, or maybe you're just not productive enough, maybe you don't get enough done, maybe you're overthinking, procrastinating, or don't know how to make a plan, this video is for you because I'm going to show you the 8 ways that I save more time, make more time, and create more with my time. Let me ask you a question. How many of you believe that you're good at multitasking? Now, studies show that only 2% of the world's population is actually able to multitask. And researchers say that when people hear that, they always assume that they're in that 2%. Maybe you're sitting there at home thinking the same thing. The truth is, most of us are in the 98%, say researchers, and therefore we have to focus on something called single tasking or monotasking. This is the idea that we focus on one thing at a time. This sounds counterintuitive. A lot of people say, well, if I'm doing less things, that's going to take more time. The truth is, when you focus on one thing at one time, not only does your productivity and your efficiency go up, your fatigue goes down and your stress goes down as well. Next time you get lost in that battle of trying to do loads of different things at the same time, press pause, take a step back, take a breath, and just focus on that one activity. This applies to eating, it applies to driving, it applies to texting, it applies to speaking on the phone or a Zoom call. Just do that one thing. A few years ago, I read a study that changed the way I live. You can't be logical and creative at the same time. Your brain and mind is using different faculties and different abilities to do different types of tasks. Imagine you're in meetings all day about numbers and data and analytics, and all of a sudden you're asked to do something creative, maybe write a speech or give a presentation. It can be really, really difficult to switch from one side of your brain to the other side in a matter of seconds. With very little organizing and planning, we're literally going like a pendulum, swinging from one task to another, which is requiring different parts of our brain and the abilities that we have. The way I solve this is that I start every day by first writing down my to-do list. I look at all the activities that I have to do. Now, in the examples I give in this video, I've simplified my task to make it easier, but know that I do this with a lot more detail. You want to draw a line down the middle of the page. On one side of it, write logical, and on the other side of it, write creative. You now want to plot and mark where these tasks on your to-do list fit, either in the logical category or in the creative category. The question you're asking yourself is this task largely structured, focused? Does it have certain boundaries? Is it quite a logical step-by-step process? Or is this creative? Is it more of a brainstorm? Is it somewhere where you need to feel free and expressive? After you've divided these tasks, you now want to write down the time estimate that specific task is going to take. What ends up happening is you start to plot your week by saying Mondays are going to be creative, Tuesdays are logical, Wednesdays are logical, Thursdays are creative, and Fridays are creative. Or you may also divide your day up into logical mornings and creative afternoons, or creative mornings and logical afternoons. This division, this time blocking, allows you to get really immersed into the activity, really focus, and be more productive and effective. So this might be unpopular opinion, but I live by this, and it has truly been a game changer in my world. If it's not in the calendar, it won't get done. It's not really a priority, right? You have to make sure that it's in your plan, it's in your day. So I'm gonna show you quickly what my calendar and schedule look like. That is my life this month. As you can see, it's color-coded, it's beautifully designed. And as I flick through this, what you'll realize is that every single day I have everything from workout time to meal times to scheduled off time all in my calendar. What this allows me to do is it helps me prioritize both personal and professional commitments and helps me see both things in the same place. If you haven't put something in your calendar, even if it's something social, I promise you'll either forget it or you won't plan effectively around it. When I know I have a really big podcast or a really big interview, or if I know that I have a big deadline on a day, I don't then surround that day with other difficult and challenging tasks. Sometimes I'll start my day with the most challenging task of the day because I feel that I need to start with a challenge. And sometimes I'll actually put it as the last most challenging task of the day because actually I want to build that momentum. When you have a schedule, you get context around how you feel. That way you manage your mental health and well-being a million times better and you do more with less time. Tell me how many times you've experienced this. You check everything off your to-do list, but you still feel unfulfilled. You've used your time wisely, you've managed to accomplish every task, but you still end the day, when your head hits the pillow, you still feel like you failed. You still feel like you didn't quite achieve something. I realized that this happened to a lot of top performers, and it was because they weren't asking themselves, what do I need to do today that will make me feel like today has been a good day? You don't think that today's a good day because you did everything you wanted to do. You have to feel like it's been a good day. So I do this activity every single day where I ask myself the question, what do I need to do today that will make me feel like today has been a success? For you, it may be reading your children a bedtime story. It may be making sure that you made 10 minutes to meditate. It may be that you had got a workout in or you had your green juice. It has to be something simple that's easily repeatable on a daily basis, but that you prioritize doing it. Writing down what you did every day gives you ideas for the future as well, and plotting it out in this way makes it really, really simple to remember what you could try on another day. How many of you feel like the months are just passing by, and it's crazy to believe that we're over a quarter of the way through the year? But this is what happens when we don't have really clear goals, targets, and tasks. This approach has really helped me manage my time better. I have big monthly goals, I have 4 weekly targets, and I have 1 daily task. The 1 daily task is the baby step towards the weekly target, and the weekly target, added up, all 4 of them, leads to the big monthly goal. So what you're doing here in essence is breaking down something that feels quite unachievable, impossible to do, and quite challenging into small, manageable chunks. Sometimes you can be sitting there thinking, wow, I don't know how I'm gonna get that done by the end of this month. If you've ever felt that way, use this model. First, come up with how can you break that big goal down into 4 separate tasks. Once you have these 4 weekly targets, now all you need to do is divide each weekly target into a daily task. So basically, you end up working on something daily that you achieve weekly, which helps you achieve something monthly. Now you've completely deconstructed this impossible, unachievable idea into something very simple and manageable. Now, I know I said to you earlier that you should focus on single tasking, not multitasking, but here's a way that you can actually get more out of the same time. I learned this from my good friend Arianna Huffington, who speaks about habit stacking. Now, we all have habits in our life that we do every single day without even thinking about it. We're driving around town. We're cooking every single day. We may be on a walk. These are great times to immerse in those activities for sure. When you're driving, to be fully present. If you're going on a hike, to be really there within nature. And if you're cooking, to be really present with the scents, the sounds, and all of the different colors that may be there. But if you're someone who can do some of those things pretty comfortably, you can also add a stack of a habit. So for example, you may be someone who listens to an audiobook while driving. You may be someone that listens to a podcast while cooking or while you're on a hike or walking the dog. It's okay to habit stack in those scenarios to get more out of the same amount of time. I wrote about this in my book. It's called Location Has Energy, Time Has Memory. When you do something in the same place every day, at the same time every day, that space builds an energy and that time builds a memory. What does that mean? When you've done something in one place, like meditated in the same place for a considerable amount of time, that space takes on a meditative energy and frequency. It becomes easier to do that activity in that place. And similarly, when you do something at the same time every day, that time has a memory. Your body, your mind remember that, and therefore it becomes easier to do. Divide your home, even in corners. I remember when my wife and I lived in a 500 square foot apartment, And literally every corner of that room was divided into a meditation corner, a social corner, a work corner, and an eating corner. Even that differentiation allowed you to keep the energy of that space sacred and appropriate for what you want to do. The challenge today is we eat where we're meant to sleep. We sleep where we're meant to work, and we work where we're meant to eat. So we've confused the energy of our environment. That's why we're sitting in bed and can't sleep, because we do so many different activities there. Remove that energy from the bedroom, place it where it needs to be, and allow yourself to see how you use your time more effectively in that place. A lot of people think sleep is a waste of time. I don't. Getting good quality sleep is integral to making more out of the time you have when you're awake. I consistently sleep for 8 hours a night, and I'm really happy about it because I know that it allows me to perform better mentally and physically throughout the day. One of the things I will add though is that you want to be sleeping before midnight. The sleep before midnight is extremely powerful and is really critical for the HGH, the human growth hormone, to be activated. So if you're sleeping at 9 p.m. and you're getting those 3 hours before midnight, that's extremely powerful, or even 2 if you're sleeping at 10 p.m. So getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night is critical to being productive with your time when you are awake. Don't fall into that trap or that habit to believe that you should be sleeping less to do more with your time. A lot of the tips